for the YouTube subscribers. Also subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe if I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Vegas 49 is on Makachev versus Bobby Green. Last minute change for Green, taking this on 10-day notice. We'll get all into that a little later on in this video. Back at the Apex live from Las Vegas. You know, you got to start thinking they may either get more crowd in the Apex or maybe find a different venue and start maybe traveling each week or opening up in the Vegas arena, depending on obviously schedule and whatnot. But you guys think the fans are going to start coming in. I know they're opening up things in Vegas and all around the world, so definitely excited for that. A weaker card, guys, a weaker card. We do have a nice sleeper fight that I'm excited for, though, in the main card, which I'll be going over for you guys. I'll break down the main card like usual, provide some free picks, tell you what to stay away from, and give you some leans. Running hot in the UFC right now. Running hot in UFC, guys. 14-2 all fights run right now for clients. Longer term, 70-38. And that's what matters more, the long term. And that's what we do here at the system. We win long term. 5-1 last week, guys. Let's go over the card quickly. Last week, 5-1 all fights. You can see the winning tickets here. Started well with Batista. Batista decision win, and we moneyline parlayed it with a hockey game that we hit on. We had a Pierce by decision, plus 240. Tons of value there versus a tough guy making his debut. When you guys don't, you know, you see the larger prices, the minus 300s, the minus 350. You don't bet those straight up. You have to find either an outcome or parlayed in a two-fight parlay. That's the only option here. So if you can find parlay, two-fight parlay, I suggest if it's a two-fight parlay to make it around even money, even plus money. Otherwise, you're not getting a ton of value out of that, especially when you got to hit two fights. So always look for an outcome if you can. Example, Batista by decision. He was going to win that by decision. The guy he was fighting was very tough, and he showed that through the fight. We got it at plus 150 instead of paying minus 350 for the fight, right? And then I found a hockey game to parlay with. I got that at plus money as well. So you got to be able to be adaptable when you're handicapping, especially me at a high level when I have clients. You can't be throwing out minus 350 plays. However, you can find two-fight parlays. You can find another sport to parlay with it, or you can find an outcome. It is tough sometimes on fights to find an outcome. I do understand. But when you do find that outcome, you're getting always plus money in the most case. So if you can find outcomes and win at a high rate, like myself, it's obviously great. We were also on Dawkins, and we parlayed it with Onama. Got plus money there. Onama, very high on Onama. James Krause is definitely excited. He has him in his camp. I love what I see for them guy. He faced some adversity in that fight. He did get hurt, but he bounced back. 11 punch combo to finish Benitez. Very high on Onama. Love what I see. And Dawkins, first round finish as well. He got the sub late. I knew and I told you guys if he got that fight to the ground, he was going to submit his opponent. Weekly update. Let's get some water here. Weekly update UFC. I mentioned 14-2 run, 70-38 run long term, 65% best bets over 2.5 years. That's long term, guys. Units, plus 46 units total. Remember, guys, I bet smaller units. I'm a controlled, disciplined handicapper, 1 unit. My max is best bets, 2 units. And I also throw out some 0.5 units, half a unit as well, if it's, you know, a plus money play or a play that doesn't hit everything I look for. PGA, guys. PGA, best bet winner last weekend with Xander, plus 120 T20. Top 20. He was under the total. I'm pretty sure he's top 15 if I recall. I think he was T15 or T13 to finish, so we hit that as a best bet. 69% best bets over 2.5 years. Over 70 units in the prop market. And third profitable in a row. NBA low volume, week off due to the All-Star break, but we'll be back at it tonight. We do have a pending game 2 night, so we'll see how that goes. 65% on the year right now, lower volume. NHL, lower volume as well, but we're 63% on the year. We do have an NHL bet pending as well tonight. I'd like to remind you guys in the NFL, let's remind everyone, on the big year in case you forgot, take a quick look at that. MLB's around the corner, guys. MLB's around the corner. Hopefully they start the season on time. I know they already pushed back spring training, so I don't know if MLB will be in the arsenal, but we'll have some MLB futures. We did hit the future with Atlanta Braves already. Atlanta Braves outright. So let's see if the MLB gets going. If so, I'll have my MLB future card out shortly. Quick shout out to Cheyenne Buys, well, formerly Buys, Cheyenne Velismus, who I will be promoting with this year. Hope to see her back in the spring or summer. I know she's training now, but I know she had an injury, but we will see Cheyenne hopefully back in the ring. Just a big shout out to her for recovery from her surgery, which I know she had. Hopefully she's back there in the spring, summer. Hopefully I get a shout out from her when she wins. Let's hear from my friend Meredith.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
SystemSportsCapping.com, guys. Subscribe today to join a long-term winning system. I update my clients every week. It's updated on my website after every play. I update you guys here every week. I update it on Twitter. I update it on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram if you're not, System Capping. Follow me on Twitter if you're not, System Capping. And of course here, YouTube, System Capping. Like, comment, subscribe. It all helps me out, guys. Share it with a friend. It does help me out a ton. It makes me want to continue to do this. Let's get into the main card. Let's get into the main card. We have a change of main event, you guys know. Of course, obviously, no Dariush. He got hurt. Unfortunately, I was looking forward to that fight. Bobby Green steps in on 10 days notice. Makachev, we got it at minus 800 here on the graphic. It's climbing, guys. I see minus 1,000 out there, minus 950. It is climbing. Shop around for the best price. Green, plus 550 on the score there. It's higher. You can get it at plus 600, plus 650. This is a catch-weight fight, guys. Keep in mind, catch-weight fight. You know, I was looking forward to the Dariush fight. I thought that that would have been Makachev's toughest opponent yet, due to the Benel's dangerous ground game. And if he did get him to the ground, how dangerous he could be on his back. But we're not getting that. We're getting a 10-day short notice Bobby Green, who put his hand up, unlike most, to jump in. Big respect for Bobby Green for taking this fight. Big respect for Bobby Green taking this on 10 days notice. This guy will fight anyone, anytime. A real fighter, in my opinion. I love watching Bobby Green fight. Usually a fun fighter to watch. However, in this fight, it might be tough to look fun in, right? This is the reason why this line is so high. There's a big reason why, right? One, obviously the style and matchup for Bobby Green is tough. Islam will have him grappling and wrestling, in my opinion, most of the fight. And it advantages Islam huge in this department. And we don't see Bobby Green, fighting too much on the ground. You don't see him wrestling too much. He can wrestle. He does have a background in wrestling. It's just, one, you haven't seen it much as of late. Most of his fights have been kickboxing, boxing style fights. You haven't seen him being tested really. We have guys taking him down. We have obviously Thiago. I can remember the last time he was able to get him down. He had a couple other guys in the past, but these are, it's been over a few years since he's been tested. And how much can you train for in 10 days, a guy like Islam? You can't. You can't, right? We know what Islam's going to want to do. There's no secret. And that's why I don't think the opponent change is a big deal for Islam, because we know he just wants to grapple. We know he wants to get the fight to the ground, and he wants to wrestle. That's what he wants to do with every fighter. And obviously, he's going to have an easier time doing that with Bobby Green than Dariush, right? There's no doubting my mind about that. It's just, can Green try to keep this on the feet? I doubt it. We have a 72% takedown defense, which isn't terrible, but it's not great. He's shown that he can be taken down in fights. And you don't want to really stand Bobby Green because he does have that boxing, but what he doesn't have is that knockout power. And that's why I do think, Bobby Green's only path to victory is to knock Islam out with some, out of nowhere KO, and he just doesn't have that on his record. He's a decision winner due to volume, and he showed that last fight. He won with his volume, outstriking his opponent, and that's how he wins fights. But if you're going to tell me that Bobby Green's going to keep this on the feet for 5 rounds, you're crazy. You're crazy, right? We just seen Bobby Green. I don't know if you guys know this, but we did see him in a grappling match a few months ago, and he got submitted in the first round against obviously a high-level black belt. But Islam's a high-level grappler, so I do think it's just going to be similar to that. I would love to see a Bobby Green upset, but I just don't see it here. Bobby Green's path to victory here is. He has 2 paths. One, keep the fight on the feet and standing. I don't see that happening. Or catching him with a crazy KO, a flying knee, or something like that. It's just very hard to see that happening. It's like almost a 1 in a million shot. At the end of the day, it is a fight, but it's just Bobby Green doesn't have that KO power to knock out Islam. I just don't see it happening. What I do see happening is Islam be able to get it to the ground like he has in most of his fights and finding a submission some point in this fight or a TKO type of finish. Shout out for Bobby Green to taking this fight. I just think it's terrible fight on short notice. You have to prepare for a guy like this. And even when you prepare a few months for a guy like this, it's just not the same. You're just not able to translate what you learn from training against guys that are just not as good as Islam. When you feel Islam take you down, it's just hard to get up. Will Bobby Green be able to get up and scramble? Possibly, but Islam will continue to bring this fight to the ground. He'll continue to grapple time and time again, and he'll just win through that. It's just very hard to see this fight, one, go the distance, and one, Bobby Green finding a wild KO here. I'll probably have a bet. I do have a bet on a round bet here or a distance bet for my clients. This is not a fight I'll be betting on a side. Why? It's too high. If you like Bobby Green, sure, throw a little sprinkle on him. But I just don't see a path for him to win this fight. You can't bet Islam at this price. Even if you find an outcome and if you think Islam will finish this fight, you can't minus 250, minus 300. That's nuts on an outcome. You just can't bet this fight from a side standpoint unless you think Bobby Green has a chance. So what I see here, obviously, is maybe the under in rounds in the total, and the fight not to go the distance would be the play. But yeah, from a side standpoint, I'm not bet this fight. Next fight here, a so-called co-main event. Minus 120 for Serkinov versus Turman, plus 100. This fight's been about even all week. Slight tick to the Serkinov side here. Interesting co-main, to say the least. Serkinov I just can't find myself getting to him here. And he just can't find himself personally. Doesn't know what weight class he wants to be in, is what I see here. And, he cut weight last time. It didn't work out for him. He's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Not a guy I want to bet on right now. Not a guy that I can put my money on. Desperate fight for him as well. You don't want to be losing another fight here. He could be cut. You never know. Turm up and down also. Turman up and down in the UFC, Brazilian fighter coming off a win versus Sam Alvey, but who hasn't? Who hasn't beat Sam Alvey these days? And I do think he just got cut, if I recall. This fight's a flip of a coin. It's a line. The line's telling you that this fight's not going to get my money or my client's money. Both guys are chinny. Both guys can be knocked out. They have shown in the past. I lean Turman just due to the price. And he does have the better striking, in my opinion. Obviously, Misha, you would lean with the grappling and wrestling in that department. So if he can get it down, maybe he could win the fight there. But Turman does have some decent wrestling as well. This is a fight I'll be staying away from. I advise you guys to stay away from. Lean Turman just to give out a pick, but I won't be betting it. Next fight here, just give me a minute, guys. We got Kim minus 170 versus the Brazilian fighter plus 145. It's another fight, guys, to just stay away from. It's a 3-4 in the UFC versus a 2-4 in the UFC, and it's below tier women's fight. Never a fight I'm excited for. Never a fight I'm excited to handicap. Told you guys this card on paper isn't pretty. But you never know. You never know. The ones on paper sometimes are the good one. Aren't good on paper, are the good ones. One thing that stands out to me right away, though, is the reach Kim will have. It's a 7-inch reach advantage. Both girls aren't known for their grappling, so I know Kim's terrible in the grappling department. So maybe the Brazilian will want to try to get this fight to the ground. I don't know. But I do expect Kim to try to use that jab, use that reach. Minus 170, I can't bet it, but I do lean Kim to win due to the volume striking. Brazilian fighter is very easy to touch and very easy to hit from watching some tape on her. So I lean Kim here, but this is not a fight I'll be betting on, guys. Arman Tsarukyan, this is the fight, guys. This is the fight I'm excited for. Tsarukyan minus 220 versus Alvarez plus 180. Arman the Armenian is back. Love the guy. Love watching him fight. And Alvarez, he looked very good in his last fight. I mentioned at the start of the video, this is the fight. This was the fight I was looking forward to. Two hot prospects who aren't far out of the top 10 spot in division. And winner of this will be fighting a top 10 guy, in my opinion. Arman has shown more in the UFC, right, in his career. He has fought slightly the better guys, and due to it, one being Islam Makachev, he did fight him. It was a competitive fight, but Islam was able to steal the win in a unanimous decision. Alvarez coming off a big win versus Thiago Moises, which I didn't see happening personally. I did think I was on Moises in that fight, if I recall. I did not see the upset. Moises did not have a good game plan in that fight. He had to go for the takedowns, but he did not. You can say, Alvarez does have the best win out of the two, if you want to say that, because the Moises win. Arman, personally, if you want to look at credentials, Arman is definitely the better wrestler here. Both guys are great grapplers, I do think, but Arman will be able to get this fight to the ground multiple times. So one of his last fights, we've seen Arman get the fight to the ground 11 times. People can take down Alvarez. Alvarez is decent off his back, so Arman will have to be careful when he gets his fight to the ground. But I do think the opportunity for takedowns will be there. And also with Alvarez, you don't see him getting out of the first or second round much. So if this fight does get into the third round, which I could see it going there, it's going to be, Alvarez is going to be tested there. Where Arman, he fights a lot of decision type fights with his wrestling and his grappling, right? He's good on the feet too. I maybe lean Alvarez on the feet just because he's a little more creative and he's going to have that reach advantage and that height advantage. But I think Arman's just going to want to get to this ground as quickly as can and hopefully avoid a submission. The price isn't great at minus 220. It's not great. I do see Alvarez money coming in currently when I'm looking at the lines. I do see some books minus 210, minus 200 for Arman. So shop around if you do like him. I cannot bet a straight bet on Arman. If you give me an outcome, I would lean the decision for Arman. And I would maybe put it in a 2-fight parlay if you have to. But yeah, it's a fight that I'm very excited to see how it pans out. I do expect Arman to have the grappling and wrestling advantage here. So I do think he can take advantage of that. And if he can avoid Alvarez, finding a submission, I do think Arman gets the win here. Watch the scales as well. Alvarez is famous on missing weight. So that's something you're going to want to watch out for, definitely. But I'm excited for this fight. Definitely excited. I do think this should have been the co-main, but hey, sometimes they like to spread out the card. I get it, but definitely excited for this fight, and I am leaning to the Arman side. Fight that's going to open up the main card. RoboCop is back. Rodriguez minus 160 versus Petrosyan plus 140. Sorry guys, some of these names that I don't see them often. I'm not great at pronouncing them. RoboCop, they call him, Rodriguez, coming off a nice KO victory. Improved his striking, in my opinion. And he's a solid on the ground. Very solid on the ground, high-level black belt guy. 2-0 in the UFC. Built like a beast and moves like RoboCop. That's why they call him. The Romanian is making his UFC debut and is getting a first tough fight, in my opinion. However, I do think the Romanian will have the striking advantage here. And if Rodriguez decides to strike like he did in his last fight against Kim, I think that's going to be a bad decision. We have seen Rodriguez's chin, tested before. So I do think he needs to get this to the ground. I do think he has an advantage on the ground. I do think he's going to be the stronger guy. So if he gets this fight to the ground, he decides to wrestle, I do think that's a smart thing here. So let's hope he does that if you're on his side. I lean RoboCop here. I'm not going to be betting this fight because I don't like the minus 160. I do think the UFC debut for the Romanian, he does have a chance if he can keep this fight on the feet. He does look great on the feet. I've seen it time and time again. His wrestling takedown defense looked decent from what I've seen. But again, he's raw, he's young. RoboCop has the UFC experience and the advantage, and he's looked good so far in the UFC. So I wouldn't be able to bet against him. There is some value here at plus 140 with the Romanian making his debut, but I'm going to lean RoboCop, but it's not a fight I will be betting. That will do it, guys. That will do it for this card. Hopefully you guys are sharing this, tuning in. Check out the website, like I always say, sportscapping.com. If you want to become a client, you can join these nice runs that I go on multiple times throughout the year. 14-2 right now, 70-38 long-term run right now. Go check out the website. If not, just tune in every week. I provide weekly updates on all sports and give you guys free play content. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.